Welcome to Distress to Joyful, Bailey's Way. I'm your host, Bailey Raber, here to enlighten you and the rest of the world about one of the most misunderstood mental health disorders out there, bipolar disorder. In each episode, we'll learn more about my personal journey with bipolar 2 disorder, how I've struggled with it, and how I've learned to overcome those struggles. Together, we'll laugh, we'll cry, and most importantly, we'll have fun. You'll leave each episode feeling hopeful and stocked full of useful information on how you can better yourself and the world around you. Hello, friends. Okay, so if you're on YouTube right now watching this, you might be a little confused as to the look that's going on. This is all natural, no makeup, no contacts, no nothing, because your girl did a workout and took a shower, and I still needed to record, and I said, you know what? This is me. I sometimes wear makeup, I sometimes wear contacts, I sometimes wear none of it. And so, yeah, we're just rocking and rolling. So, a couple things before we move into today's episode. This past week, being last week actually, because it's a new week, hello. Last week, I went to dinner with an old friend from high school, Spencer, he was one of my best friends in high school, and I'm really glad that we've been able to kind of reconnect and hang out and stuff these days, and he's got a wonderful wife, Taylor, so Moni and I went and had dinner with him, kind of like a little double date, and it was so much fun. We had a blast. But I'm bringing this up, guys, because while we were at dinner with Spencer, of course, things from the past got brought up, like high school, mainly high school, those kinds of things. And Spencer brought up something, and he said something to me that was just like an aha moment. It was not an epiphany, but it was more so like, damn. So I'm not going to go too much into detail on this. I'll talk more at the end of this episode because I've actually decided, thanks to dinner with Spencer and Taylor, shout out to you, Spencer, I know you're listening. I've actually decided that the next episode is going to be one that is straight from the heart. So it's specifically going to be about my childhood home and my feelings around living in the household that I grew up in. Spencer brought up an excellent point, something that it felt good. It was so validating to hear him say this. And unfortunately, this is a cliffhanger because I'm not going to tell you what he said. You will find out in the next episode. But I just want to let you guys know that I'm actually really excited. I haven't done an episode from the heart in a while. I've been more focused on research and talking about my self-discovery with y'all. And this is a form of self-discovery, but it's not research-backed. It's more of, oh my God, self-awareness is coming through like crazy. And I'm really excited to actually share this with you. And I know some of y'all will be able to connect, which is, it's comforting for me, but also heartbreaking because I hate when other people have gone through shitty things that I've gone through. But at the same time, it's nice to know that I'm not the only one. It's kind of like what we talked about last week, and you are not alone. So, other announcements. Oh my God. I'm going to Europe in less than a month. Holy shit, y'all. I have not even taken any time to go over this because life has been so crazy. And I think I still can't believe that this is actually happening. Fuck, y'all. Fuck. So Moni knows, he's known from, probably the first month of us dating, starting back in 2020, that I have always wanted to go to Paris, France. Y'all, I'm a fashion major. Coco Chanel is my fashion icon. I have been obsessed with Paris since I was a little girl, since I saw the Coco Chanel movie on Lifetime Movie Network when I was 13 or 14 years old. Actually, give me a second. For those of y'all on YouTube, let me show you something weird and creepy and kind of cool at the same time that I have right up here on the shelf. Give me 2 seconds. This, my friends, is an Eiffel Tower plush doll. And yes, it is creepy looking. And It is definitely old as fuck. This is from like the 90s. The tag is all in French. It doesn't say what year, but this is a plush of the Eiffel Tower. And it took me probably 7 years to realize that's what this is. I just know it says Paris. See, it says Paris right there. You guys might not actually be able to read that nicely on YouTube, but I will put I'll put a photo of my little Eiffel Tower plushie in the show notes. My uncle growing up, he spent some time in Paris. He had friends there, and he brought this back for me when I was a kid. There's also a backpack up there from Paris, which I've kept all these years. Y'all, I have a whole fucking shelf over here full of shit from around the world that is about to increase because I'm going to Europe next month. I'm really pumped. This is a dream come true. I'm really excited also to be able to tell this to you guys on Travel Tales. And more importantly, I'm so excited to get to write a blog post and teach y'all how to go to Europe with spending very minimal money. I am so frugal. So fucking frugal. My favorite Hindi phrase is "मैं कंजूस हूँ," which basically means I don't like to spend money. So Moni and I have actually devised a way for us to spend 2 whole weeks in Europe and spend very little money while getting to do all the things we want to do. So all of this will come full circle. I cannot wait to share it with you. I hope you guys are going to be excited to hear about this. We're going to Paris, we're going to Brussels, Belgium, and then we're going to Amsterdam and the Netherlands. So lots of fun things coming for you guys, lots of fun things coming for me, obviously, but don't get worried because I have been on top of my shit this year and there will still be episodes while I'm in Europe. So don't worry. I will still be here for you in the form of our weekly podcast episodes. I'm pumped. I hope you guys are pumped. I hope you guys have been enjoying this new season as much as I have. I really do. Which, speaking of, Travel Tales, the first episode was released last week on Monday. It was the road trip from Houston, Texas to New Mexico. How did you guys like it? Did you enjoy it? Do you think it's fun? Do you not really give a shit? Do you not care about travel? What is it? What do you guys think? Send me a message. You can either DM me at distress2joyful_Bailey's Way on Instagram. You can also head on over to the website, whatisheybales.com. Go to the contact page and submit your ideas, your thoughts, whatever the fuck you want to tell me, submit it there too. I want to hear from you guys. I want to know how y'all feel about this. I'm going to keep doing it for the time being until someone tells me that this is stupid and I should stop. But really, I hope you guys are enjoying it, and please let me know. Send me a message. I want to hear from you. Looking for a way to support Distress to Joyful Bailey's Way and your favorite podcast host, but unsure how? Well, friends, you can head on over to my Etsy shop, Bailey's Way Designs, to purchase an item handmade by yours truly. In my shop, you'll find cute and useful travel accessories, the comfiest workout headbands you've ever worn, adorable pet accessories, graphic t-shirts, and more. All of the proceeds from Bailey's Way Designs goes directly towards funding my college education, where I'm currently expanding my knowledge of fashion design. You can receive 15% off your first order of $35 or more by going to baileyswaydesigns.etsy.com and use code NEWCUSTOMER15. That's NEWCUSTOMER15. The link to my shop can also be found in the episode description and the show notes. Y'all, I truly appreciate all of your support, and I can't wait to hand pack and ship the items that you purchase from me. Once again, go to baileyswaydesigns.etsy.com and use code NEWCUSTOMER15 to receive 15% off your first purchase. Let's go ahead and dive into today's episode, Bipolar Disorder and Sensory Overload. So I really can't remember how or what sparked my interest into researching this topic, but Something happened in July of 2022 that got the wheels in my brain turning, and it made me hit up our pal Google. And Google led me to an article on bphope.com titled, "Do You Experience Auditory Overload and Focus Issues from Bipolar?" And this was written by a woman named Kelly Staton. She starts off by saying, "Many of us with bipolar disorder deal with hypersensitivity in one form or another. The most prevalent form of sensory sensitivity that she experiences is auditory overload." Okay, so let's pause for a second. AttitudeMag.com, which attitude is spelled with two D's, so it kind of makes me think like ADD-atude. the whole website is focused on ADD, but they define hypersensitivity as being highly sensitive to physical stimuli, either sound, sight, touch, or smell, and or emotional stimuli, and the tendency to be easily overwhelmed by too much information. So another term that basically means the same thing is sensory overload, which is defined as occurring when one or more of your five senses becomes overstimulated. Y'all, I literally had an epiphany moment, a real one, back in July. I actually emailed myself this article because I knew I was going to write an episode for y'all and talk about this more in depth, but I just needed time to do more research and to explore this topic within myself first. That is why it's taken from July until now to get to your ears. Y'all, oh my God, I'm actually really excited about this because learning about sensory overload and hypersensitivity has really, really helped my relationship with Monish and just my relationship with myself when these kind of things occur for me. So let's dig in a little bit more. This will all make sense. I promise it's going to come full circle. So I found an additional article on verywellmind.com that says, "A person's sense of hearing may become overloaded when music is too loud, or their vision may be impaired if lights are too bright. Anyone can experience sensory overload, but it is most common with people who have post-traumatic stress disorder, also known as PTSD, autism, or sensory processing and other neurodevelopmental disorders." Which, y'all, by the way, bipolar disorder has recently been classified as a neurodevelopmental disorder. So that would fall in the category of most common with people with this. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so like I had mentioned, this was an epiphany moment for me. So this information might actually sound a bit familiar to some of y'all, because it definitely struck a chord with me when I read about this topic in more detail. So I could continue reading Kelly's article on how she experiences auditory overload and her experiences with dealing with hypersensitivity. But this podcast is not called Distress to Joyful Kelly's Way. So instead, I will tell you about my experiences with oversensitivity and sensory overload and hypersensitivity. Jeez, I was so ready for that punchline that I just fucked up the last of it. Although, guys, I do want to encourage you to read Kelly's article in full because her experiences are quite different than mine, and you might end up relating more to her experiences than mine. You can find the link, all of these links of all the articles I've mentioned so far and the ones that I will mention in the show notes for today's episode, so keep that in mind. Okay, so for me, auditory overload can look like not being able to concentrate when talking on the phone with someone because there is way too much background noise from their side. Feeling frustrated because it is super loud and noisy in a public setting, like in a restaurant, in a mall, whatever, and needing to get the hell out immediately before I go apeshit on everyone. getting upset or angry that the volume, whether it's the volume of the TV, the radio, Monish's iPhone, what the fuck ever, that the volume is just too loud. So those are some of the big ones that these bug me on a regular basis, y'all. Especially the phone one. Oh my God. If I'm on the phone with you and there's a shit ton of background noise, I will have to hang up or ask you to mute yourself or something. So we're going to get more into that in just a moment. But some additional forms of sensory overload. So not just focus on auditory, but just sensory in general that I sometimes experience are not wanting to be touched even by Monish, my beloved partner, just because it's too overwhelming and it's too much. So guys, a good example of this is that sometimes when we go on evening walks or morning walks, whatever, we like to walk. Our arms are going to be swinging next to each other. Not like this, like this. If you're on YouTube, like, so I can't really show. I'm sitting down. God damn it. So, but they're swinging, right? Like when you're walking, your arms are swinging. And he'll sometimes accidentally like smash his arm into mine. And if I'm feeling agitated or I'm already feeling some kind of way that day and he does this accidental arm smashing will set me off and I will either, scooch further away from him or I'm going to ask him to scooch the fuck over so that his arm stops bumping into mine. This one happens pretty frequently, so it was immediately easy for me to recall this one for y'all. Some other things are like feeling claustrophobic in a crowded space or like having to exit a room immediately due to a strong smell. So sometimes coffee beans, the smell of that, if it's being ground up, if I walk into a coffee shop and they're freshly brewing a shit ton of coffee, sometimes that is overwhelming and I just got to get the fuck out. The same goes for being hit with the intensity of a Karen's 1950s vomit-inducing perfume. Y'all know when that old Karen walks in and you can smell her before you see or hear her, that shit will sometimes get me. It'll just be too much. And usually it is Chanel No. 5. And I know I said that Coco Chanel is my fashion icon, but I fucking hate the smell of Chanel No. 5. I said that. Yes, I did. But here's the thing, y'all. I don't always feel this way. I don't always feel overwhelmed by these noises and these smells and these sounds and the touching. I don't always feel like this. Okay, so what the fuck does that mean then? Well, friends, that means that sometimes I can deal with a loud as fuck TV with absolutely no issues, and other times I will freak out and scream to have the volume turned down. Sometimes Moni can smash his arm into mine while we're on a walk together and it doesn't fucking bother me. But other times I will cringe and I will need to get away. Just give me some space. And sometimes I can be crammed into a crowded elevator and not give a fuck. While other times I need to get off on the next floor, whether or not it's my floor, because I just can't handle being smushed in between all these people. Okay, so we've discussed the physical stimuli that can sometimes be overwhelming and overloading. And these guys, these come and go. Again, it's like bipolar disorder. You know bipolar disorder. At this point, you better. There's just the ups and the downs. There's the swinging of the things. And most often than not, these will usually occur when I'm feeling agitated from a high. That's when most of these things occur. Because if I'm feeling a high, the agitation is there, I'm easily irritated, and these things can easily set me off. But sometimes also, if I'm feeling low and depressed, then I will also feel like this, especially the noise. With the things being too loud. If I'm feeling depressed, that's definitely going to be too much. Sometimes light is too much, which is why I want to be in the dark and just be left alone. It depends. And if I could control these things, you should know by now I fucking would. I'm a control freak. But the thing is, I can't. Just like I can't control how my bipolar disorder works. I can't control these things. And due to that, they'll swing up and down, and sometimes it's fine and sometimes it's not. And that's one of these things that I have come to accept about myself. If you experience these things as well, I encourage you to dive a little bit deeper into some self-discovery, maybe through some journaling. And I sound like your therapist right now, don't I? But that way you can kind of understand this about you too, that it's not your fault. Don't get upset about yourself for feeling this way, but also just know that this is going to happen. And if it happens, just accept it as it is and just go with it. Don't try to fight it. Don't try to change it. Just go with it. When you can learn to just go with it, y'all, it seriously makes life easier. And I still have work to do on that. I've come a long fucking way. But I still have work to do on that too. So don't get discouraged. Just know that it's going to take time. You're going to have to get used to these things. But the less hard you are on yourself and the more understanding you can be towards yourself, the easier life will be. I promise. Okay, physical stimuli. Check. Now let's go ahead and dive into the emotional stimuli. Everybody's favorite, emotions. So an article that I found on verywellmind.com reads, high sensitivity applies across a few different categories. There are several traits or characteristics in common, such as avoiding violent movies or TV shows because they feel too intense and leave you feeling unsettled, being deeply moved by beauty, either expressed in art, nature, or the human spirit, sometimes even a good commercial, being overwhelmed by sensory stimuli, such as noisy crowds, bright lights, or uncomfortable clothing, feeling a need for downtime, not just a preference, especially when you have hectic days, needing to retreat to a dark, quiet room, having a rich and complex inner life, complete with deep thoughts and strong feelings that go with them. Okay, so let me give you guys my personal take on these. Not all of them, 4 out of the 5. We're going to talk about 4 out of the 5. And the first one being avoiding violent movies or TV shows. Y'all, this is 100% me. I hate action movies. I hate them because I get so much anxiety while watching the fighting scenes, and it's too intense. It is so intense for me. So, story time. Monish and I recently went and watched this movie called Pathan, which it's a Bollywood movie. So it's produced in India. It's all in Hindi. The subtitles are at the bottom. It's great. I'm learning Hindi. Most of y'all know this by now. So it's always a great experience to watch Bollywood movies because it helps me with conversation and all of that. But this was an action movie. And normally I would have said no, but it was in theaters and it had Monish's all-time favorite actor was the star. I couldn't say no. So I went with him to see this and holy fuck. He noticed that the fighting scenes were causing me anxiety because I was just sitting there like shaking a little bit, holding my legs, wiggling my feet, squeezing my arms. And he noticed this, and y'all, he is so sweet. I'm probably going to tear up a little bit. He looked over and he saw me and he grabbed my hand and he held my hand until the fighting scene was over. And I told him, I'm going to need you to do that every time. And I would squeeze his hand so fucking hard, it probably hurt. But he saw that and that's how he was able to comfort me. But guys, that's how action movies make me feel. I fucking hate them. I just feel on edge. It's awful. So being deeply moved by beauty. So this one's an interesting one because sometimes I cry when I find something very beautiful. Whether it be a kind gesture that somebody made for someone else or for me. If I am just moved by something, I just feel very powerful and I feel intense. Like it's just a powerful emotion inside me. And it often brings me to tears. So I think the tears are kind of like a release. Yeah, I cry happy tears all the time. Sometimes Mona will do something so seemingly small and it just makes me feel so good. And it just really moves me that he did this seemingly little thing for me, and I'll cry because I'm just so happy. Yeah. Some of y'all probably understand this. Others of y'all are probably like, "Oh, don't get it," but that's cool. And I don't know. It is what it is. I've come to accept it. I used to be embarrassed by my happy tears, but this is my life. I feel happiness so intensely sometimes that I cry. And I will take that any day over not feeling that because it's beautiful. If any of you know what I'm talking about, don't be embarrassed by your happy tears. That is such a beautiful thing, and not everybody gets to experience that. So embrace it. Enjoy it and embrace it. Feeling a need for downtime. Y'all, I am an extreme extrovert most of the time. Extreme. But there are times when I just need to be left the fuck alone. Oh, like just let me lay on the couch and watch an episode of my TV show by myself. Let me recuperate. Leave me alone, especially if I had a shitty or hectic day. Especially. And y'all, sometimes I feel so bad because I'm the chatterbox of our household. I laugh a lot. I talk a lot. I'm always fucking talking. Monish is the introvert. I'm the extrovert. So when I have to ask him to not talk because I just need to be left the fuck alone, sometimes I feel so bad and so guilty because I never shut the fuck up. And he'll give me shit sometimes. He'll be like, seriously, you're always talking and you're telling me to be quiet? And I'm like, well... So yeah, that does occasionally happen, and I hate when it happens, but it does, and I can't help it. I just need my space. I just need to be left alone. And the last one, having a rich and complex inner life. Y'all, I am talking to myself in my head all the time. I told you I never shut up. That's why I'm here. I like to talk. But, when they say, complete with deep thoughts and strong feelings that go with them, I will have full-blown conversations in my head in the shower, where now I'm having happy tears in the shower or on a walk because I'm just feeling all kinds of things from this conversation in my head. Some of y'all might think that sounds crazy. I honestly don't give a fuck because this is my reality and this is what it is. So those of you who can relate, you are not alone. Keep having those conversations in your head. Keep enjoying that. If you are finishing an argument with somebody else that you didn't have, but inside your head, please know I do that shit all the time, especially when I'm in the shower. The shower is my favorite place to go back to those arguments I was having and have that better answer or that better response or that better fucking burn. That is my place to do it. And I don't care if y'all think it's weird or whatever, because this is my life. This is what I do. And I know some of y'all do it too. Okay, so let's move into some really good information via how to support those around you who are experiencing a sensory overload. This, I think, is super, super important because having a partner means that sometimes I don't want to be touched. I need the volume turned down. I need to be left alone. And he needs to understand this, because if he doesn't understand that I need this or how to support me through it, it can cause conflict. And it has. It's literally caused conflict between me and Moni in the past. Not so much anymore because we've worked on it. We've communicated. He understands. And that is why I'm telling you guys this, because we have we have come up with how to get through this. And so I want to share that with y'all. All of which that I'm listing out is based on my personal experiences going through this with my partner, Monish. I'm pointing like he's sitting on the couch over there. He's definitely not. That would be really awkward for me. But just know that this is all based on my personal experience. Some of this may work for you, some of it may not, but it's worth a shot, especially if you are in a long-term relationship with somebody and there's conflict around these type of things. It can also work for family members. So, take what you want from this. This is for you to get your wheels turning and start thinking about what you could do to better help yourself and those around you. Hello. So 1, do not take it personally. Seriously. When I say this, I mean, I don't dislike you because I can't be touched by you right now. It's nothing at all like that. I just physically can't handle being touched, so I need you to respect my boundary and just don't touch me. That's all. We're all good. This is all about me, nothing to do with you, so please do not take this personally. 2, respect the person's boundaries. Listen, if your friend, your relative, your romantic partner tells you that they need to leave this fucking party right now because they just feel overwhelmed by the lights, the noise, the crowds, whatever have it be, let them leave. And don't give them shit for it, more importantly. If you don't want to leave, ask them if it's cool if you stay. But if they need to go, if this is too much for them, let them go. Don't force them to stay somewhere that is overstimulating for them, because that's just going to cause irritation, a breakdown, a meltdown, anger. Who fucking knows? So many reactions can come from being forced to stay in a situation that is overstimulating. Don't put them through that. Let them escape. Go with them. Or if you don't want to go with them, see if they're cool with you still staying there. Whatever have it be. But please respect their boundaries. Don't touch them if they don't want to be touched. Turn down the fucking TV if it needs to be turned down. Just respect some boundaries, guys. Respect. 3, ask what they need or how you can best support them in that moment. This is huge. Monish has gotten so well at this. He's gotten so good at doing this for me, and I'm so grateful and forever thankful that he does this. It's a no-brainer for him now. It's taken time, but now it's a no-brainer. And a few examples of phrases that he uses with me is, how can I help? Is there anything that you need from me right now? Or what can I do to help alleviate some of what's overwhelming you? So a real life example from situations that often occur with me and Moni is that, like I mentioned before, if we're on the phone and there's background noise and it's just, I can't handle it. It's coming from his end of the phone. It's just overwhelming for me. I need it to be gone. I'll tell him, look, babe, I can't concentrate on this conversation because there's too much background noise. And when this happens, we'll do one of 3 things. Either he'll call me back later when he's out of whatever area he's currently in that's causing all that noise. We'll just wait until I get home to finish the conversation. Or he'll offer to mute himself while he isn't talking if the conversation needs to continue right that second. These are 3 simple things to keep me from overreacting. Because the thing is, guys, like I mentioned, if I'm on the phone with him and it's background noise, I can't concentrate. It's overwhelming to me. It's too much. And we continue like that, I'm going to get pissed. I'm going to get irritated. I'm going to fucking hang up on your ass mid-sentence. I've done that to him before. I really have. And that's shitty. And that's not a great way to handle the situation. So if I can communicate to him like, hey, this is what's happening. And either I offer the solutions or he chimes in and offers some solutions, that is always the best way to go. That way we can figure out, solve that right then and there. Nobody's mad. Nobody's pissed at each other. And we just move on and life is good. So y'all, I truly hope that tuning into this episode has helped open your eyes to the reality of sensory overload, Be it that have you experienced it or you've been present when someone has experienced it around you. And I just want to leave 2 things with you today before we go. So the first one, if you experience sensory overload, please know that this is quite normal and that learning to communicate your needs, especially during overwhelming moments, will really, really help you out in the long run. And number 2, if someone around you is experiencing some sort of sensory overload, please remember that their reactions have nothing to do with you. Nothing. But if you extend some kindness towards them, that can really go a long way. Win of the week. Win of the week. All right, y'all. So win of the week. This segment was created for you. Yes, you. And this is a way for all of us together to spread some positivity and share a good thing that happened in recent times. Whether you received a job offer to the company of your dreams, or that you finally gained the energy to shower for the first time in 3 days, no win is too small to celebrate. And here on Distressed to Joyful Bailey's Way, we celebrate all wins equally. Yes, we do. Also, this is your opportunity for a shout out on the show, and y'all should know by now that I love giving shout outs. So today we have a submission from the website from Keith Travis. So Keith says that his win is that he finalized all of his prep work for his cybersecurity class that starts tomorrow, and that he's ready to get the show on the road and point his life in a new direction. Oh, I love that. And he also says that he got to see his parents this week before things got crazy, which was nice. Aw, thanks, Keithy. For those of you listening, Keith is like an older brother to me, and he's been in my life for, almost 15 years now. I think about 15 years, which is wild. He's like an older brother to me, and I love that he sent in a submission. So if you're listening, thank you, Keithy. I appreciate it. That's his nickname. He probably hates I'm calling him this right now on a public platform. So do you have a recent win that you want to share? Send in your submissions by heading on over to whatisheybales.com/win of the week. Also, side note, if you don't want to be shouted out, then don't fill in the name or nickname and email address. Just send your message and hit submit. If you want to be shouted out, please put your name in there. But if not, then don't worry about it. You can just write the message and hit submit. It's not required. I just want to celebrate you. Even if you're anonymous, I still want to celebrate you. I love celebrating people, and I love celebrating milestones and life events and everything. Let's celebrate the small things, because y'all, what is life worth living for if we're not celebrating things along the way? Seriously. You can also send in your submissions directly to my DMs on Instagram at DistressedToJoyful_Bailey's So in the next episode, I'm going to speak directly from the heart, like I mentioned in the announcements earlier. And I'm going to talk about my experiences growing up in a household where I was the black sheep and always felt as if I didn't belong. Y'all, I have heard so many people in the past 5+ years tell me that they too were the black sheep of their family. And while it's comforting to know that I'm not alone, it really truly breaks my heart. So I do want to talk about my experiences and share them. 1, to help you guys feel not alone. And 2, so that hopefully those of you who have kids can not make those same mistakes that my parents made. I mean, it is what it is. So nobody is perfect. My parents will never be perfect. They were not perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. And that's okay. The thing is just owning up to our mistakes and realizing where we did wrong, and then trying to do right by them, or like me here, trying to help others not make those same mistakes. Guys, that That to me is truly important, and that's why I sit here and do what I do. So thank you for tuning into the show. Be sure to follow the show on Instagram and Facebook at distress2joyful_Bailey's Way. Make sure to head on over to the website, whatisheybellsdoing.com, to check out the show notes from this episode. If you enjoy this podcast, help spread the word by leaving a rating or writing a review. Please know, guys, I always want to hear from you. I really do. Be sure to check out the show notes to find all of the links mentioned throughout today's episode. And you can also watch this episode for free on YouTube. Lastly, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all of the new episode releases. But until next time, take it easy, stay grateful, and be joyful. Bye!